Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Nguyen, back again with Critical Failure. So, as you see, I was shaving my fucking small amount of hair that's between my fucking eyebrows. And, while I was shaving, a good chunk of my fucking skin came off. So, I have like this little scab. So, I don't know what the fuck happened with that, but yeah. As you see, I'm going to be recording in my car. And this video is going to be basically the second portion of the Curse of Strahd stuff. So, yeah. I was talking to Ed. He said he enjoyed the video. I'm trying to do like a highlights thing. So, he told me that I had actually forgot to mention why they wanted to keep the dead baby. And that is to animate dead until they can fully revive the baby Walter. And then from there, I think they were going to make it have a class and stuff like that. But like the entire situation's just fucked because like I think it's going to be a skeleton. And I guess that's like completely fine, but it's like...
It already is. It's like
yeah, I know, it is. But it's just completely fucked in general. So the entire situation is just what the hell. But I ended off with them, I believe, stealing the pacifier. And so it's kind of funny because after that, like literally right after that, the gate opens again. And two people walk inside. They see about 200 feet away, because they walked a good bit into the village, they see a dragonborn, a bronze dragonborn, pick up the guard that they just basically insulted and convinced his wife was cheating on him. And he got thrown a good couple feet by the dragonborn. And the paladin, which is Prescott's character, I'm sorry about that, we're going through a very like bumpy road right now. But the paladin walks in after the dragonborn because, like I said, he's basically like his bodyguard of sorts, and he just kind of waltzes right in, and all the villagers of Barovia start like shutting their stuff down. Like the elves, yeah, they look weird, but they're not nearly as bad in terms of like looking like, you know, like a dragon or something like that. The Barovians aren't used to seeing other races. Like they know of dwarves, they know of gnomes, and they know of the races, but they aren't trusting of them. Mainly new people. They're more open to trust a human than elf, than a dragonborn. Like the more weird looking you are, the less likely they're willing to trust you, put trust in you, and stuff like that. So that's usually what I have for this game. So the fact that the dragonborn had entered the city, they basically just shut down commerce. Like while they were already trying to get the pacifier, they already were experiencing a harsh amount of racism. Like the person just refused to sell to them, and I was trying to come up with like racial slurs for freaking elves, and the party already knew this was going to happen basically because you're in Barovia. You're basically like going to experience something like that. And that's what I wanted to show off in this because it's a more realistic type of gameplay, in my opinion, for what I'm going for. And so the thing is that when they walk in, everything's shut down and the party finally meets up. And Ed makes this connection because basically while they're inside of Durst Manor, the death house, they saw two people enter. They couldn't make out what they were, and he made that connection. In reality, that was just a fluke. I forgot about that. It was just to show that they couldn't meet up with other people. They're in their own time warp, basically, while inside that house. And he made that connection that it could have been those two. So I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. So that's just how it worked. So eventually, they end up teaming up inadvertently. Prescott's character and Nalen, already had previous history, so they protect each other and stuff like that, while the other party members absolutely just started like meeting together. So they don't necessarily fully like each other, they don't trust each other, and they heard crying from where they were, and they went to go investigate the paladin first because he was lawful good and he wanted to help everyone basically. So he goes up to a girl named Tatiana, which is a very vital character actually in the entire game. And so they talk to her, and this is homebrewed right here. Basically, 2 children had went missing from a schoolhouse within the village of Barovia, and they had to go find them. They automatically assumed they were dead, which I was going to have them die had they not started the quest basically immediately and find them within 2 days. So they ended up going out the same gate they went in, and they were in a combat encounter with some wolves. I think it was like 4 wolves carrying a huge rabbit, and they thought one of them could have been the kid, one kid at least. So they ended up killing the dogs, skinning 3 of it for their meat, and they got a couple of things. And then I allowed Wesley to animate like some basically animate animals. So since there's no like direct spell out of core 5th edition that we know of that's allowing you to specifically animate just the animals, they let him create that as a first level spell. It basically gets the same health points as its normal things, but regardless of the sorry, I'm going to try and like get it to where the flashing stops, which won't help, so it doesn't matter. So basically, I tried giving him a neat spell that he made up that lasts for the day, basically like a lot like Animate Dead, and this basically is showing like his advancement in necromancy. So I thought it'd be really cool, in my opinion, just to show him having more and more gradual advancements in that. So he ends up creating like a bone wolf because he's getting all 4 of the animals, and so there's just nothing but bones. And I think he has like a couple more hours on it, and so he keeps. Say again.
It wasn't Wes, that was Ed.
Yeah, I said it was Wes. I mean Ed.
He said Wes.
Oh, never mind. Ed did that. My bad. I don't know how I said Wesley.
You did say Wesley.
I thought I said Ed.
I'm sure who that was.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because of that. And so at this point, Wes hasn't played that game. The last 2 games actually. When Prescott got introduced, because he's been wanting to play, just couldn't because of his schedule. Wesley actually wasn't able to play, so he basically disappeared from the game, even though he's following. I don't run him because I don't like running other people's characters. It does not work out that way. I don't like basically having a Yasha situation in Critical Role, because for me, it never works out. I always do something that the character isn't meant to do that goes against the character, because I play it how I would view the situation needs rather than how the character would react. So that's what I do. But anyway, the thing is like the character just kind of was in the background. And so I ended up finding a cave with some small amounts of, like, I believe chanting, I said, was inside. I don't remember. Did I say it was chanting? Or did I just say you found a cave?
We found a cave. It wasn't chanting.
Okay, so they just found a cave. So I'm not fully remembering everything. So they find a cave, and they go into an encounter with the Roper and 2 or 3 piercers. I forgot specifically what. And I read the piercers, and I was like, they should have at least a bite attack instead of just dropping on top of them. So I gave them a bite attack in the Roper. Well, the encounter with the Roper was so damaging that I knocked the paladin unconscious, like within 3 hits of him. But I was mostly going for the wizard because Ed's a blade singer, and his AC is so high that if I focus on everyone else, I know with guaranteed at least 4 attacks with its tentacles, they're bound to start hitting a lot, mainly when they're all combined on him. So what I would do is put 2 on him and then 1 on another character and another for another character. So it kind of evened it out. Well, those 2 are fighting them. My brother's character, King, and Nguyen that I'm running, were fighting the piercers because we were just trying to get DPS back on our side. We're trying to take care of them. So basically, when the piercers are taken, most of the piercers are taken advantage of, and King is facing the last piercer. Nguyen goes up to try and punch the Roper, but remember, Ropers are basically high AC, and my character's a monk. So he always, for some reason, landed 2 attacks because he did the bonus action to attack with an unarmed attack. So his first attack would always miss, but it would make, I would say it would make contact, but he would like break fingers. So by the time that basically the encounter was over, he had a broken hand because he kept like punching the shit out of it with one hand, and then the other one would make actual damage to him. So I thought that was funny on my end. But the roper knocked unconscious the paladin. So Bob Moss went down, and I had to basically make sure that he didn't get like completely dead. So dragging him away, Thaurin, the wizard, talked shit. He was like, "You are fucking pussies." So that's what happened. We ended up, Nolan ended up going back into the fight, and Thaurin tried saving the paladin's life and got a fucking natural 1 on his medicine check, which he lost 2 saves and went unconscious. Or, I forgot, did he die or did he, like, I forgot what specifically happened. So I remember that basically he ended up, like, getting hurt out of it. And eventually he came up. So, like, because like I said about, like, last video, no one can truly die. So, we go into the next section. There's this human who is surprised. He talks about how, you know, he's surprised that they made the defenses and gained the connections with the roper. And they were questioning, like, how the fuck are you walking through? And he never really did answer that. But they ended up torturing the motherfucker. They asked for, like, where the kids were, all this jazz, which he didn't give answers to. But they asked about Strahd. And so he told a lot about Strahd, which they can ask a lot of villagers about, which he has the standard, like, knowledge that the villagers would have. He doesn't know anything more, he doesn't know anything less. So they got the standard information and kept prying and prying and didn't actually do anything. So insert, like, a lot of torturing, a lot of broken bones, a lot of, like, lay on hands and cure wounds. This guy is, like, tortured to all hell. And eventually, Thaurin, after, like, a moment of, like, actual silence, while they're not torturing this poor human, Thaurin is the only person who heard some sort of, like, whimpering. So he sees, like, this crack in the wall, and he gets closer and realizes it's like a hole. Basically, it's made to look like it's a natural formation, but it's not. So he goes inside, and he meets actually Clifton's character, which he's new to D&D also. He's a gnome who's apparently a naked drunkard, just like himself, and he just texting me. So basically, he's there in a cage next to the actual 2 children that they were looking for. The gnome was just already in Barovia. That's how he had it, because he came in like the game before, but sadly, being drunk, he wasn't able to really play all that much. So that was funny. I apologize for the noise. But yeah, so that's all that happened. And so basically, they get the kids. They spent the night there. They took a long rest, and they made it, like, the party made it seem like they separated. So Nolan and Bob Moss took the kids to Barovia. But apparently all this stuff was supposed, like, I'm going to say, supposedly happened while they were asleep, which I did not know. So they basically were attaching parts, and was attaching parts to his dog. And wanted to put the cage of the dead baby, or the dead baby, in the rib cage of the dog, which is weird. Well, the gnome tried getting on top of the dog. Dog collapsed, its bones. I don't imagine it supporting weight. So it's funny. And what's cool is that, like, because of the paladin's, like, oath of, like, the ancient one or whatever, he basically had power over vines. So he said he wanted to build, like, some sort of homebrew, not homebrew, but like a wall of basically vines and thorns, so nothing could get really in. So he kept the kids safe, which I found, like, really good for stuff. At one point, he actually took out a real sword and was, like, threatening players with it, which I found really fucking cool. Because it's like, it's fucking cool. Like, he's actually saying stuff in character, like, to another character, and he cheats it after he's done. And I was like, okay, fucking, you're getting inspiration out for that. That was actually badass. I loved it. That just says, what's up in the area. And so, he had the inspiration out for that. And the monk ended up going to meditate. And after he was done meditating, he fell asleep. And then the elf did trance next to the guy who was next to the human who was bound at this time. Who else was there? Yeah, that was it for characters. The gnome was just drunkenly asleep. So basically, that's all good. So after that,
And I'm
Bob, Moss, and Nala, the kids, avoided some zombies after they left after long rest, and they got back, did some. They basically met Tatiana, talked to Tatiana for a second, she lived with the kids. Well, just to go bring back everything to the other characters, they explained what they did, which I have mostly forgotten by now. Basically, involved the undead stuff, and they were walking back.
We're walking back.
And they encountered, my brother carried the gnome who was naked at the time and drunk, and they encountered the zombies that basically the other part of the party had avoided. So the funny thing is that since they avoided it, they actually saw a Barovian hunter from Barovia, specifically the village. So he sits there and he's like, they saw eyes at first amongst the undead. And the undead surprisingly didn't see him. I mean, they have really low passives. And so they tried avoiding it, but this hunter shot towards the zombies and started drawing the fire toward himself like it was up until then. So that part of the party dispatched the zombies pretty quickly. And they tried talking to the hunter. The hunter, seeing that these guys are fucking sorry, I'm going to try and bring this better to where you can actually see color. Actually, hold on, I have a fucking Blu-ray. See if that works. It actually does a little bit. But anyways, so they see that the hunter does not want to talk to them. So they ended up basically just wasting a couple minutes trying to follow him, talk to him. And it was a little bit of a comedic moment because I was like, he just crouches. Because in Skyrim you can do that. People will just look around for a second thinking they want with that perk. But yeah, it's really funny that happened in my opinion. And eventually they all meet back. They find Tatiana. And that's when the second time they find Strahd von Zarovich, the main villain of Curse of Strahd. So they see him. They basically go into the schoolhouse. This is where they're going to sleep for the night or two. And they hear a knock at the door. They open the door, and I thought this was a perfect time to do this because it was off on a whim. They heard the knock on the door, and they see this pale, gaunt, but very strong-looking person. And he opens the doors, and he smiles, and he goes, Tatiana. And he says some shit. And Tatiana says, Strahd, you cannot be here, all that shit. Basically, they're not supposed to be together, and they don't want to be together. Tatiana doesn't want to be with Strahd, but Strahd is thirsting real hard. He is sipping as a motherfucker, basically. And so, basically, the monk is behind the door, and Bob Moss is able to see Strahd perfectly. So the monk, hearing all this, is kind of at the ready, and Bob Moss is just kind of watching, and he's seeing. So Tatiana eventually gets him to fuck off because he can't enter a door without being invited. So she starts closing the door, and Bob Moss, with a good perception check, sees Strahd's face good towards his vampire face and kind of latch towards the door. And then it was so quick that he barely was able to perceive it, and he was a half second later looking normal. His rage overtook him for a second. And I think that's actually where I ended the game, was them meeting up then. And Bob Moss said to Nala, he said, that Strahd character has more to him than it seems. And after they finish reuniting, that's basically where the game ended, because it was really late. I had to go talk to the neighbor recruiter the same day, so it was bad. But the entire game was actually really cool that time, really interesting. I enjoyed it, so I can't wait to do another game tonight. I'll probably do some sort of video tomorrow. Probably do work tomorrow or tonight. So I'll be good. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. I'll definitely be putting these out basically a couple of day or two after they happen. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys liked this type of series where I'm basically just narrating the highlights of what happens until I can actually start recording the games. So yeah, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.